What's going on, everybody? Jeremy with Detroit Tech. Now, while I love my DT990 headphones, I get a little annoyed with the cable. Plugs in right here and gets under my arm and like sometimes can pull at my head or whatever. And I've been dying to get a wireless headset for gaming, basically because I admit I have first world problems. So we picked up the Arctis 7 wireless headset by SteelSeries. Let's check it out. And of course, I'll link everything in the description below if you're interested in purchasing something and helping support the channel. Diving into the box, you have, the headset, the wireless transmitter and receiver, micro USB charging cable, and a mobile/console cable. I really wish they'd have updated these with USB-C, but oh well. My first impressions of the headset are actually really great. Feels pretty well built. The plastic used feels like sturdy and high quality. The headband is metal with, it's like a metal strip here with rubber on the bottom. And this suspension system here is basically headband from ski goggles. And that's actually exactly how they market it as well. The ear cups are soft touch plastic with a matte finish that doesn't really pick up fingerprints that much, so thank you guys. And ear pads are mesh covered, what SteelSeries calls airweave. On the right ear cup, you'll find the power button and the dial for the chat and game mix. The left ear cup has a mute button, it's analog, not digital, a volume dial, the headphone share jack, the micro USB port, and the retractable microphone boom. The mic boom arm, it's nice and flexible and works well to get the mic placed pretty near where your mouth is. My biggest niggle here is that it's like a two-hand affair to really push it back in. I can't set it in my head and then just shove it back. Maybe it's just me or my angle is wrong or whatever, but I'd rather just be able to kind of throw it back there. The mute button is great. It sits close to the ear cup here, and then when you pops out when you activate it, and it mutes. The cool thing here is you get the button, or not the button, the light on the top of the mic actually lights up red in your peripheral vision, so you know you're muted. And I really like kind of the idea of everything that they have there. The chat game mix dial is great. I can have like my Discord and then system sounds on the chat side and then the game on the other side. Now, so it's not as imperative that I find the audio controls and turn like the music off super quick on the computer and everything. I'm also a big fan of having a separate volume control like from Windows. Just let me have the Windows volume up at 100% and I'll adjust it on like my device. The problem with these dials is their location. In general, like you think about it, it's all kind of a good spot. You just go back here, hit it with your thumb, it's easy to adjust. And maybe it's just because it takes so little force to adjust them, but I find myself accidentally hitting them like all the freaking time when I'm just trying to adjust the headset on my head. Suddenly like the game disappears or everything disappears and I didn't even like realize that I touched the dial. It's definitely annoying. Putting the headset on, it's a pretty nice experience. Headband sits nicely and they give you a little bit of play here with the Velcro to get the size right. Unfortunately, I do kind of have to extend it. Big surprise, I have a giant head. But so like there's some Velcro showing. I just wish there wasn't any. Looks cooler that way. The clamping force of the ear cups isn't bad, snug, but not really overly tight. They feel a little bit heavy, especially compared to like the DT990s, but not really overly heavy. It's a good balance. And after wearing them for a while, my ears do start to get a little bit of warm, but not quite as much as they would have if the ear pads were leather. The memory foam pads are really nice and deep so my ears don't actually touch the inside of the grill. Very comfortable. Connecting to the computer is simple. Plug the transmitter into a spare USB port and turn on the headset. Follow the directions in the manual and I mean, that's it. It's really, really easy. The transmitter does have a little trick up its sleeve too. It has 2 headphone jacks on the back, an input and an output. You can plug your phone or like something into it and get the sound to your headset, and you can even send the signal out to another pair of speakers. If the headset is off, the signal will go out to the signals and the output will automatically switch to the headset when you turn the headset on. Really, really nice. Okay, so performance of the headset. There's a lot to go over here. So starting with overall sound. Basically, you need to use EQ for these to sound even okay when listening to music. The low mids are tremendously muddy and there's no air in the top end. Mids are fine, but not like super detailed, at least for music. Throw the EQ on in the software and the story does change quite a bit. I put the performance EQ on since I'm not like a bass head, and music becomes perfectly tolerable. These will never be something akin to analytical, but I could throw some music on in the background of doing something else, and it's totally fine for like background music. They will win 0 awards for music, but they're not audiophile headphones. They're a gaming headset. To unlock the power of this headset, you need to get into SteelSeries software. Now, I'll try not to be too long-winded here. There's a little bit to go over. There's some useful but not groundbreaking options, like the option to pick a time to turn the headset off after an activity. I have mine set to 30 minutes in case I forget to turn it off, so that's cool. There's the mic volume so you don't blow out your friend's ears. That's basically your gain slider. The live mic preview is useful for figuring out where you need the mic volume to sit, but is quite disorienting as there's pretty big delay between you speaking and the sound actually coming through the headset. So really only for testing purposes there, which is actually kind of a pity because the side tone is, in my opinion, just not good enough. One of the things I loved about the Logitech G Pro X headset, which did a video about right here, is the side tone. It really gave me a lot of volume headroom for my own voice, which is something that I really like to have because these are closed back headphones. So personally, I have a hard time figuring out how loud I'm being because I sound muffled because I have things over my ears, which can get really annoying for my wife when I get too loud late at night playing Warzone. The only way the side tone really got loud enough was when I was yelling or had the headset turned up super loud, where the game and everything else was just way too loud. There's the EQ, which does a great job of making these sound pretty darn good. I've tweaked the performance preset a bit to kind of bring up the footsteps more in Modern Warfare and thus Warzone. Really nice touch with the EQ is when you make changes, the software kind of slowly fades the changes in. It's not a big thing, nice little touch. I really like it. The feature keeps you from experiencing really jarring changes that might honestly be pretty unfun. The compressor here is actually pretty awesome IMO. Short explanation, a compressor makes the difference between the loudest noises and the quietest noises smaller. It compresses them together. It allows you to turn the game up so you can actually hear softer noises like footsteps without getting your eardrums blown out when a freaking RPG explodes right next to you. It's not groundbreaking technology for sure. I can't even count how many different compressor plugins I have for Pro Tools right now, but it's simple to use and provides really good value. Awesome. Last, and for me, least in the software, is the 7.1 surround sound. It's one of the more inoffensive ones that I've used, but I still don't really like it. It just sounds like a bunch of added reverb. The bass enhancement, it does that, and the dialogue enhancement kind of brings the mids up a bit, where the clarity of people speaking sits. So when you put all of this together, you get a very good headset. Without the surround sound, directionality is great. In Warzone, I even get a much better idea of where the loot boxes are and whether they're above me without having to search a whole floor and then go up and waste a bunch of time that way. The volume and game chat mix dials are really great to have, as I can make my teammates quieter on the fly during important moments like, trying to get out of the gulag and being bad at it. They're comfortable enough for use for a long time as well. On to the microphone. Don't really like it. When I first switched to it on Discord,
Corey immediately asked why I sounded so bad. To be fair, he's used to listening to me on a Rode NT USB, and I recently got a Blue Spark microphone too, so get subscribed if you want to see that review. But after listening to the mic, it's basically fine as long as you're comparing it to other headsets. It's clear enough, and people on the other end shouldn't really have a hard time understanding you. Like most other headsets, there's not very much low end. It does a pretty decent job of noise rejection. This is me talking into the SteelSeries Arctis 7 headset while my very loud furnace runs in the background. No link for that. And as long as you don't type like a crazy animal or use blue switches, it really shouldn't be too bad. This is me talking into the SteelSeries Arctis 7 headset while typing like a normal person on the drop control keyboard with Kale silver speed switches, link down below. This is me talking into the SteelSeries Arctis 7 headset while typing like a crazy person on the drop control keyboard with Kale silver speed switches, link down below. In general, I really do prefer the microphones of the HyperX Cloud 2 and the Logitech G Pro X, but those are wired headphones. Plus, I won't be using the built-in mic anyway, so I'd give it a solid meh.
A couple things to note on daily usage. SteelSeries claims battery life is up to about 24 hours, and I'm inclined to believe them. I've had a session of like 8 hours of gaming, and they were still showing it like 75% afterwards, so not bad there. The wireless transmitter is not very powerful. I have a pretty small house, and it will tend to drop out like 15 feet away. I mean, there is a wall in the way, but what's the point if I can't like run to the fridge while still talking to everybody? I don't even know. I don't have a console to use with these, but I mean, it should be plug and play, plug into the controller and play. It's not wireless, but it should work perfectly fine. And actually, let me know in the comments below if you guys use this plugging the wireless transmitter into a console. Let me know how that works. I'm actually curious. Also, kind of a side note, at least for me and people who have audio setups similar to mine, I was concerned about using these to run games on. I run all my audio through my Focusrite Scarlett 2i4 and out to my speakers or headphone amp. I really don't want to have to like keep the Windows sound setting open all the time and go in there and click and switch every time I just wanted to play a game. Luckily, the Elgato Stream Deck had an option to switch the output sources. Use it right here, one click, and I'm good to go. Awesome. So overall, I actually really like these. Maybe it's just the wireless aspect of them and, you know, trying to solve a first world problem, but they really do perform well in game. And I think they perform well enough to overlook the other flaws that they have. These are going into rotation for gaming when I don't feel like dealing with the cable. They're not cheap, as we paid like about $150 for them. But if you're tired of cables getting in the way when you're gaming, I think these are worth taking a look at. Besides, matte black. So thanks for watching, everybody. If this video is helpful, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Let us know in the comments below if you're affected by the first world problem of having wires as much as I am, and we'll catch you in the next one.
And it goes like